And something that's pretty awesome is I just drove an Escalade before this that does not have air suspension. And so I can actually tell you guys if the air suspension perceivably makes a difference. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2022 GMC Yukon Denali Ultimate XL. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the National GMC here in American Fork for giving me some time with this Denali Ultimate. Check out the inventory in the description down below. They sell new GMCs, Buicks, and then they have a ton of used cars to choose from as well. And then on a side note, if you want to save time, money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town and then 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 420 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the Denali Ultimate. So first off, you can see here with the design on the hood, notice it's like flat in the center and then it kind of raises up here on either side. And then coming down below, you can see these C-shaped LED accent lights with these super bright LED headlights. And then notice here with the fog light down below, parking sensors here on the front end, and then you notice chrome accenting all over, massive chrome front grille with the camera there at the center of the grille. Definitely has a large, imposing look that says, hey, get out the way. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 22-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you can see the design on the wheels. I think it looks really good, especially the finish here. GMC logo there in the center. And then here's a quick look at the front suspension. This one does have the MagneRide as well as the air suspension. And then notice here with the molded fender, another GMC logo here, Denali on the side. And then you can see the two-tone design with the mirror. And then look at the finish here on the door handles. And then taking a few steps back, you can see the chrome trim around the windows. And I just realized that I said this was an Ultimate in the intro. This is just a regular Denali. My bad, but anyways, there's a side view. So here's our key fob. We have our unlock, lock, remote start, the opening for the hatch, and then that's opening for the rear window. We're gonna open up the hatch here. So you can see that pop open. And then notice we have these beautiful metallic plaques on either side. And then you can see the storage space underneath. And then third row seats, you can power fold down and up. Second row, you can only fold down. And then notice the outlet right next to that. Now being the XL, this has quite a bit of storage space behind the third row, which is a huge benefit of the XL. And then you can imagine folding down the third row adds quite a bit more space. But yeah, if space is important, this is the one to get. And then all you gotta do is just press that. And bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Now finishing things up here with the rear, you can see these C-shaped tail lights here in the back. And then look at the exhaust tips here at the bottom. Quad tips look great. Parking sensors along the bottom. Yukon Denali, right? And then you got your GMC logo. And then the cameras down below that. And other than that, that's the rear. Now here's the rear door panel. You can see here with the leather trim and the stitching, then the wood trim throughout, and then notice the silver trim down below that. And then notice a few speakers for the Bose sound system. And then you can see the leather trim down here with the cross stitching. And then here are these seats. So again, you got that nice cowhide appearance, but then notice perforated here in the center portion. Gotta get that off the seat. Goodbye, little guy. Adjustments here on the side of the seat. Denali right there. And then you guys can see legroom and headroom. Notice we got the storage pocket right here. Couple cup holders, climate controls. We've got heated seats here with the USBs and then a full outlet down below. And then you can see the seats in the third row actually match the second row seats in terms of the appearance. You can fit adults back there very comfortably. There is also a USB on top of that. And, well, let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel at the front. Again, you can see here with the leather trim, then the wood, and then the silver trim down below that, and then all of the leather down below that. Memory seats, we've got our window controls here, and then the mirrors, they do power fold in. They've got blind spot monitoring, and then another speaker for the Bose sound system. Denali again, and then here's the front seat again, Denali. Notice here perforated, and then again you've got that really nice like cross stitch design with the cowhide appearance. And then you can see here with the power adjustments, pedal layout down below. Trailer brake control, this is for the heads-up display. And then we've got a bunch of controls right here. So auto stop start, camera system, outlets, parking sensors, hill descent control, lane departure, stability control, parking brake. We've got our drive mode / air suspension / driveline select all in that area. light controls, and there's a lot. Steering wheel is power adjustable. Let's pop in. Now here is our steering wheel, leather trim all around, and then darker stitching in the center. We've got our controls for the center stack, voice command controls, and you can see here at the bottom of the steering wheel, Denali logo there in the center. Heated steering wheel button right here, and then notice here with our cruise control, radio controls around the back of the steering wheel, and then you've got your turn signal / windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. We have the full digital gauge cluster here in the center. Notice here with the speed on the one side, and then here in the center screen itself, you can scroll through different menus, see different bits of information here on the Denali. And then we've got the drive modes here off to the other side. So notice we have our normal, sport, off-road, and then tow haul from a drive mode perspective. And it shows little animations when you go into the drive modes, which is pretty cool. And if you press the air suspension button, you can change the ground clearance here. So notice we can go to entry exit, we've got normal, and then we have increased, and then you have maximum ground clearance that you can go between. But since we're on road, we're just gonna keep it in normal mode. Now before we go over the infotainment system, we've got our gear selector here off to the side. So notice we've got our park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then the actual manual shift function. Popping into reverse, see a backup camera, which are directory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And the cool thing about GM products is they have an amazing camera system that takes up the whole screen and gives you every conceivable camera view that you could ever want on a vehicle. And so suffice to say, parking this, even though it's a large SUV, is not going to be a challenge. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time is great with the screen. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto also come with the screen. You got these shortcut buttons here off to the side, and that's all. Notice with the leather trim here on the dash, and then down below, you notice there's leather covering pretty much every surface that you look at, or wood, or metallic trim. So it looks nice. Analog controls here for the radio, climate controls down below, heated, cooled seats here for the front, and we've got this to cover the wireless phone charger, which is definitely nice. And then notice kind of like all the wood. And then we have the center console here, again with the cross stitching. Notice the storage space there in the console itself. And I wonder if this actually, yeah, so that actually picks up if you don't want that for some reason. Glove box. And we've got our panoramic sunroof. Controls for the sunroof, for the hatch there in the rear, and then for the seats. And then we of course have the camera mirror. Most important thing ever. So here's our window sticker on this Denali. You guys can see all of the standard equipment that comes with this, and then you can see the options on this, like the 22-inch wheels, advanced technology package, premium capability package as well. There's tons of different options added to this, and then you do get some credits for some things that aren't available right now because of supply shortages. $86,765 is the total MSRP, and let's drive it. Well, let's go over visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. You guys can now see the heads-up display, and then both of the mirrors, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And this is why you have the camera mirror, because of how many seats this has. Anyways, well, let's set off. So setting off here in the Yukon Denali, not Ultimate. Sorry about that. It's super windy today, and I know this is a lame excuse, but like, sometimes when it's windy, all I'm paying attention to is just not losing the camera from my hand when I'm doing intros, and so I can say stupid things, but it is what it is. Anyways, setting off here in this Yukon Denali, not Ultimate. Let's see how it drives. And something that's pretty awesome is I just drove an Escalade before this that does not have air suspension. And so I can actually tell you guys if the air suspension perceivably makes a difference from a ride quality perspective. And we're pretty low on fuel, so we're not gonna get like an acceleration or anything like that. We're just gonna coast most of the way, to be honest. But you guys know the 6.2 is great. It's my favorite engine from GM because it sounds nice, it's smooth, and it just makes sense to have any luxury vehicle like this. Handling's great. So a lot of the handling comes from the limited slip and the Magna Ride, and the Escalade had both of those. The biggest benefit I see with the air suspension is honestly not with the handling or with the ride quality. The biggest benefit that I see with the air suspension is just the fact that you can raise it up if you have to go over something big, obstacle-wise. If you take this off-road for some reason, right? Or if you want to lower it down, so like if you have like an elderly parent, or if you're elderly yourself, right, and it's hard to get into a vehicle, the air suspension, right, lowering it down to the lowest setting helps out with that. So that's it. It doesn't really seem like it changes ride quality too much. It seems like it mostly would benefit that kind of stuff. So if you either, you know, you live out in the middle of nowhere where you need a little bit more ground clearance, air suspension makes sense. Or if you just want the process of getting in and out a little bit to be a little bit easier, air suspension. Also, look at that Ranger, holy moly. Anyways, there's the Yukon. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2022 Yukon Denali. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the National GMC here in American Fork for giving me some time with the Denali. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.